install and configure vCenter Server. All right, so we've gotten through the first couple of, I guess, introductory nuggets at this point. Now we're getting on to the first set of nuggets that, well, we really actually get to click through and see how things actually work. So to get this whole process started, really one of the first things that we're going to want to do is get that vCenter server up and operational. Doing so requires a set of steps, as you can see down here at the bottom. We've got to install it into, in our case, a virtual machine and size its database, give it the right license information. Once we're done with the server portion, then we'll use that portion to download the vCenter client, because the vCenter client actually is a download from the vCenter server's website. And then once we're in the vCenter client, we'll just kind of poke around in there, take a look at some of the client plugins, and just see how they look. There is actually another type of vCenter server called the vCenter Web Client and Web Server that we'll take a look at here in this nugget as well. Now, before we actually get into doing that, click-through installation piece, there are a couple of discussion topics here that are important for you to know, not only for the exam, but also for just making the right decisions when it comes time to actually, well, figure out what it is you want to put together to build your own vCenter environment. The two topics I have up here, number one, are to identify what are the available server editions that you can pick up. And it's very important because some of those server editions have some pretty important limitations that are associated with them. The other of which is to understand how you might actually add technologies to your vCenter server to increase its availability. Now, as you'll find out here in just a second, there are some newer features within vCenter server that really really make these high availability options important. The most important of which here is this auto deploy technology here for ESXi. We won't be talking about auto deploy for a fairly long time, but be aware at this point, though, that if you do intend on auto deploying ESXi servers using vCenter server, well, that actually adds in some pretty significant availability requirements for vCenter server itself. Now, before we get there, however, let's back up just a minute and talk about the editions. You can see I've put up here the three different editions that are available for vCenter Server 5. There is an Essentials edition, a Foundation edition, and then also your regular Standard edition. And as you can see here by the descriptions, the Essentials and the Foundation editions are relatively